Ivanka Trump. She has been accused of helping her father negotiate shady loan terms. And we're in the 6th week now of the Trump trial. We are simply talking about a symbol today and what she's going through, as well as potential outcome. We're going to take a look at the courtroom time when she walked in and sat down and raised her hand. We're going to draw a chart for that. We're also going to take a look at some of her charts, what she's going through right now. I put Pisces there. I believe she is a Pisces rising right now. She probably is in a Pisces stage right now. Why? Because Pisces represents hotels, shoes. She had a shoe collection. She loves jewelry, which is, Pisces love very sparkly, shiny things. On the bad side of Pisces, we have fraud, lies, and deception, and drugs. Thankfully, she didn't have any problem with that. Now she is full on in discussions right now about her father's hotel empire. We're going to go to the court chart. This is 10 a.m. today. She walks through that door. And what's on the ascendant? The rising sign is going to represent the person that basically assigns the time of the meeting. And that would be the court. And so that's Sagittarius and also represents the 9th house. Jupiter retrograde, it's not so great. You can see they're in a very big fight right now with people who have Scorpio real estate. Look at all of those planets in Scorpio. Saturn is in Pisces right now. So if you've committed a fraud, Saturn's the karma planet. I mean, it's crazy. Even Taylor Swift, her karma song is very popular right now. There are a lot of signs right now that even drug addicts would die, like Matthew Perry. So Saturn can be death. If you have addictions, it is a very, very difficult time. We are talking about documents. That is really what the spotlight is on today. Mercury would represent documents. If you like the idea of court astrology and you like this channel, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. We'd love to have you as a subscriber and a member. If you would like to become a valedictorian, you can hit the join button. Let's look at the area of Scorpio really quickly. This is a real estate empire. We've got the sun, which would be a president. And the sun would also represent gold. So gold is so prevalent in that real estate empire. The sun is an empire. I mean, we've got 4 different planets in Scorpio. And we've got part of fortune, which can show that these people are very, very successful, big, big careers. Kind of reminds you of the Kardashians. If you look at any of their shows, you're going to see a lot of very, very impressive, large real estate, dream real estate, really. You can see dream through Neptune. Look at how Neptune is trining this group of planets. This is a dream real estate portfolio. And sometimes making the real estate look a little bit better than it is, which is what they're accused of doing in order to get loans at great rates. You're not supposed to do that. That's against the law. What's going to happen to them? I think we're going to see that in the 2nd house. Okay. We're going to see some fines. We've got Saturn in the 2nd house. It's dry. It's going to be dry there. And what is it doing? It is squaring Mercury. Mercury represents a group of defendants. Why? Because Gemini is a group. They're probably children of the president who look alike. At least I think Ivanka looks a little bit like Donald Jr. Now you would go and you would look at where Mercury is. Mercury's over here in the 11th house, right near daddy. Okay, they're all together. Now Mars here is in between the president, the ex-president, and his kids. That's Mars at 18 degrees. That's a lot of fighting. It's a lot of anger, revenge, jealousy. Lots of things are coming up. I mean, it may be as little as one of them looking at their press coverage and being jealous that the other one did better. It could be as small as that. But it could also be that it's the devil's real estate, could even be something where a location is kind of like called something that has to do with the devil. I know that they're talking about the GSA building, which is the old post office building. That was owned by the government for Trump came in and bought it, and quite a transformation, by the way. If you ever walked through the old post office building and then later on went to the Trump hotel, it's pretty impressive. Pluto, I'm just making that point because of Pluto. It's the lord of Scorpio. It's part of that Scorpio. It's transforming things. These people are a bunch of transformers, basically. Oh, good one. Thank you, Grace. Oh, I'm glad you came on today. We're going to see those themes, those devil themes. I'm going to skip over. I'm not going to do this full chart yet, but you've got an X here. Oh, and by the way, can I just say this card? It is the Five of Wands. And I had pulled it, you can see it, right before I started. And it's a group of people and they're in a lot of stress. It's a card, Five of Wands. It sounds like a good card, but it's not. It's being in a battle, which they are. They're all in a battle. And funny how fire is coming out there. So they're breathing fire. Now, look at this. We saw this in Robert Card mass murderer chart where we were like, there's somebody famous in there. And somebody famous came out. I guess it was Patrick Dempsey, who was McDreamy and saying that it was his hometown and how he was sending his condolences. The Venus moon here, this could be Ivanka strolling into the courtroom. I mean, she could also be Mercury. Okay, she's one of a group. But we might also see somebody else coming in and tweeting or taking prominence in some way, somebody very famous. Why does it mean fame? Because not only is it in the ninth house of fame and press coverage, Moon is fame. And you put that next to any planet and it'll bring them, whatever that symbol is, it'll bring them some kind of fame, or they're already famous. Obviously, Ivanka is famous, so that could definitely show a signature of as she's walking through the courtroom. But we might also see something else that has to do with fame. Always something that people look at, when they want to know if their project is going to do really well, or if they're trying to rebrand themselves or something. They like to see that the moon is close to the planet representing them. So look at how is being brought down here. And why? This is a hotel. And Neptune is hotel. Neptune is also fraud. So it's a Neptunian influence in the third house that she's talking about, where it's like a weight. It's like you're going overboard and you got an anchor tied around your neck. And so this is the fraud that's trying to bring her down. If we were talking about her being Venus here, this could also be a very famous hotel, and that could be the Doral. But with her here, look at this. She's got a mystic rectangle. And that's a good thing for her. She's able to insulate herself. She's got a trine here. It's just a lot of energy that's kind of flowing their way. They've got fame, they've got help from lawyers, and they're quick thinkers. We've got Uranus in that good mystic rectangle. So, so that is, that's something that's on their side, that's in their favor. However, if this is the Donald, it looks like there is something that's going to bring down part of his empire. And it's going to be pretty shocking to him and this group of people. They are going to be able to survive. And we're going to go and look at what that could possibly might be. Could even be somebody famous bailing them out and bringing them back into the court of favor, which seems difficult. If we're talking about real estate and real estate deals and a real estate empire, notice that you've got a house here, and the house is toppling over, and you've got this X in the middle of it. So this is definitely a clue as to what is going to happen in the coming weeks. There's just going to be, it's like it's being hit by a lightning bolt, and that would be this opposition. All right, so here is the real estate empire. Here is Donald. You see all of that energy there in Scorpio. So Scorpio is the real estate. It's an empire. You've got 18 degrees there with that Mars. This can be, the devil is in there. It can also be an evil fight. And think about what Donald Trump was doing there on Twitter. He's been saying some pretty nasty things, and that would be 18 degrees about the attorney general. It's just been over the top nasty. So that would be the devil. Here is the house. The house represents real estate in this chart. This is the court chart for today at 10 a.m. And it is toppling over. And then you've got these big red lines going through it. And like I said, it's like a lightning bolt. So this is not great. But then we've got this famous woman. Who is this? Is this Ivanka? Because it looks like she is reinforcing it somehow. She's coming to the rescue, it seems, in this transformation. Maybe they've got a trick up their sleeve or something, but it sure looks like they are depending on. It could be a famous female. It could be a famous hotel because we're tying this to Neptune. I know. I think I read too many tabloids on the Jersey Shore when I was a kid, and they were always calling him the Donald. So now I'm going to go and explain a couple more things, and then we're going to get to Ivanka's charts. First of all, when you're looking at a court chart, you want to look at the ninth house. This is the court itself, okay? And Mercury is ruling this court. And of course, Mercury represents documents. So it's a court case about documents. And the 11th house, it's the 11th house of email. They're looking at a lot of emails. This morning, they were in a fight about, she never sent that email. And actually, she did. And it was just like stupid fights about emails today. The New York Times has a nice write up about it. So that's Mercury there, the documents. What I was saying before was Saturn is in the second house of finances, of money. And Saturn is karma. With Pisces, it's fraud karma. Not only does it offer a profile of the case itself, because look, ninth house is Mercury. This is what it's about. And it's squaring Saturn. That's not a great sign. It's not a great sign. It looks as if the court is not going to be able to go as far as it wants to. That's how I'm reading that Saturn. Interesting, though, that the same planet that's ruling the ninth house also rules the defendants. It could also mean two courts, which we're going to just assume is an appellate court too. There's going to be a huge shock that's going to be dealt to them. Let's go to Ivanka Trump's transit chart. Look at how her Mercury there in the ninth house would be documents, and ninth house is court. And she would be it would be a historical type of event where she would have to talk about documents, not just documents. Jupiter and Pluto is lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of documents. What we have here is we've got the eclipse coming over that. And so now she's having to, all the documents that she accumulated over many years since, I want to say 15, but probably earlier than that. Now she has to purge what she knows. It's coming out in the ninth house, which would be publications and newspapers and the PR and public relations types of efforts. So it's just a lot of talk about the court. Before, she thought she was just going to be famous because the ninth house is fame and it's being in the news. Libra also represents beauty. So it would be both for her. It would be the beauty industry and also the courts. She has Saturn here, and it is squaring her natal Uranus. Saturn is a transit planet. Everything on the outside of this wheel is a transit planet, and it is exactly over your natal chart as it is hers. It's just that her natal planets are in a different place. And so she has Saturn squaring Uranus, which is extremely uncomfortable. It can mean breaking the rules. It can mean shattering tradition. And that's way up there in the 10th house for all to see. This is the karma of hotels and how this would be very uncomfortable for her. So Saturn is going to have to move along a little bit for her to get out of this square. It's going to be a few months. This again is uh, her birth chart is inside. So her fifth is ruled by Gemini. Mercury, again, very, very important when it comes to her family. She would be born where her family would be talking a lot about documents. Thank you, Jody. Yes, 11th house, social media, and a lot of her charts. But yeah, there'd be a lot of twittering. She hasn't been saying a lot. She has been very shrewd in how she has conducted herself. Everybody's very impressed with Ivanka in how she has carried herself today. I always like to look at Black Moon Lilith in a chart, especially where it is in a transit chart, and it is conjunct Mars. Mars is in her third. Mars rules her third and her 10th. Eighth house would be real estate. This would definitely be her career. Well, Mars is a man. We know that. Somebody's doing something, I think, that's a little shady and secretive in the eighth house. And it's in her third and 10th. So somebody she's talking to, somebody who plays a part in her real estate career. I'm not sure what that is. This is her transit progressed chart, and it looks tough. These are the transit progressions. The transit planets are on the outside, just like they would be for ours. But of course, like anybody, we're going to have a cluster of progressed planets all coming into one house. And it's usually a very intense energy. Sometimes it's really good. Sometimes it's exciting. You're achieving your hopes and dreams and things you could never imagine. Then other times you're in court and it's the ninth house, and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 planets. I noticed that Black Moon Lilith is in there, the nefarious planet. It doesn't do anybody any good. And Uranus is in there, which can be emailed documents. And again, here is where that square with Saturn is coming in, and it's in the 12th house of secrets, hotels, foreign lands. So I guess what I just wanted to do was highlight how many planets she has in her ninth house of the court. How crazy is this? You've got Neptune. Neptune is hotel. Mercury is documents. The sun is dad. Father's hotel documents in court. Like, can you get any more literal than that? And then, of course, and just ruining everything. Thanks, Dad. So this is very difficult. And then, of course, Dad has Black Moon Lilith next to him. So shady stuff, shady things are being shown and talked about in court. It is wild. It's wild how that is working out. We have this female, whoever that is, helping somehow. Very powerful female. Could be somebody in government because of Capricorn there. So that's kind of weird. Neptune is the hotel. It's fraud. It's right out in front of her. The first house is what's around you, what you're talking about. It can show. And one of the things I put on the thumbnail was shoes. She would have that energy in her life. She's well into Pisces now as a progressed Pisces, if I rectified that right. But before she was in an Aquarius phase. So she was doing a lot of things online. She was selling things online. And then boom, she started in the hotel industry. And that's when things started to happen for her in her progressed late, but made it. I don't know how I missed the start. We're talking about her Ivanka's transit chart, which is kind of ugly right now. Transit progressions, really hard when you've got that stellium of planets in the ninth house. And then you've got squares going. And so you can see Neptune is squaring the MC. That's the planet of dissolving something. So you've got Neptune. This is transit Neptune, and it's going to go back and forth because it's retrograde and it's going to go direct again. And it is squaring. So it's a very uncomfortable way of dissolving. Maybe they want to and they can't. These nefarious documents in order for them to get to the top. Her progress chart, this is a little bit simpler, but my God, this looks hard. Thankfully, the progressed moon moves faster over the next year, it's going to stick like that. And so, what's up here? We've got Neptune right at the top. When you have an elevated group of planets, it's extremely strong, and it also is for the world to see, which is like a double whammy. It's like the world is putting their magnifying glass on you. Now you've got basically the same things that we saw in the transit progressed chart, but look how it is opposing this cluster, the moon. So, what is the moon in Gemini? Well, the moon is illuminating the documents. So, that's what's bringing them down. However, daddy's over here. Saturn, which is dad. Pluto is real estate, secrets. Jupiter is many, many, many. And then you've got the legal side. So he may have friends within the court system, like he's tried to use in the past, and that might be a cushion for her somehow. So she's going to rely on daddy. There's going to be no throwing anybody under the bus, I don't think. I know there's been talk about what she would do and what she would say, but she knows which side her bread is buttered. So she's going to do her best to make sure that she protects dad, he will protect her. So we've got dad here. And look at that square with the Venus. Venus is financial. Finances are purging, they're being purged. 11th house, social media, documents. Venus in Aquarius, these are electronic. This is electronic funds, basically. It's really representing that it's a fight over the electronic funds, which is part of this whole court case and probably part of the charges as well. Fraud and all that stuff is part of the electronic 11th house Aquarius side. Very strong there. He's trying to get rid of them, but he can't because you can see South Node is trying to get rid of these documents, but he's fighting them. He can't. It looks uncomfortable for dad. We also have Mercury is documents, and then we have a sextile to Saturn here. These are old documents that they're talking about. So Saturn meaning old. Well, Saturn's also a lawyer too. So it seems like they've got a decent lawyer here that's going to do okay. Mars is still in her first house. I would say Mars is the eighth house here. Mars is representing the eighth house, and you have that seems to be a man. I don't know who that is. And you can notice in your own chart that there are T squares sometimes, and it shows the biggest problem. And you want to look at the apex to determine what your big problem is. It's the real estate. Mercury, the reason I put fraud there was Mercury rules that house, and it's right next to Neptune. So you can see it's like fraudulent documents. So fighting Mars is to fighting fraudulent documents. That's going to be there for a while. She's going to have to deal with that T square. Now, she does have a mini grand trine here. I mean, we all know the T square, and it's just very difficult to try to get through that. It is just like you feel stuck. You feel stuck in a fight. Mars is fighting. It's a war. It's no good. Now, if this was your chart, what can make you feel a little bit better? Or what do you have going for you? Okay. And it seems as if Uranus is in the ninth house. This might just be a quick visit to the courthouse. And then you have Venus. She's looking fabulous. She's online. She looks good. She's able to fight. So that could be part of that, but she's still having to deal with these documents. And this is going to stick in her chart for a while. So again, Neptune, fraudulent, Sun, father or government, Mercury documents, fraudulent documents, and talking to the government in the ninth house of the court. Anytime you have Black Moon Lilith in there, it's a very dark energy. And, you really wish that you didn't have to deal with what you're being faced with. She probably would never have thought, as somebody's daughter, part of this powerful empire, she probably thought that she was insulated, that, if they're telling me to do it, look at all the hotels they have. I'm just going to go with what they say. There's a shock coming for them. I mean, look at that opposition there. Pretty shocking. This is Uranus. And this is a break. Remember, Uranus is a complete shattering. All right. So it's a shattering of an empire, a real estate empire. But they've got things in place. You've got that blue rectangle, the mystic rectangle. And so it's like they've got tent poles outside and they're able to hold on to some of the assets at least. But there is something from this court chart now. We're not talking about the appellate courts. We're talking about this one, where what I think is going to happen, Jupiter in retrograde, Jupiter representing the court. It's, if you're going to get sued during Jupiter retrograde. That's what I say. And it just looks like such a battle. Like the court is going to deliver a shocking verdict. And I think that's probably going to be some fines, big fines. The US is in Sati Sati, or in its Saturn moon phase, where everything is very depressed. People are sad, and you're seeing really terrible headlines. Don't look at those headlines. It's just awful. So awful how, we're seeing things about babies. And the other thing I wanted to mention was with Sati Sati, and I'm going to say you're going to see iconic symbols come down that represent New York. Look at how New York is. When New York is down, Trump is down. When New York is up, Trump is up. So these people are icons, and you're going to see how they all kind of. I see it as a couple of different symbols. It looks as if this is the time of the court case, it looks like there's going to be a failure of some sort, maybe a failure to make their entire case, or they're going to win it. And then in the appellate court, they're going to lose. So there is definitely a failure that we're seeing here. Whenever you see the X, that's my interpretation anyway. Grace judge already decided they are guilty. I'm thinking he will fine them $250 million. For Ivanka's chart, her fifth house, Cancer. What rules Cancer? Her family falls. North Node is the snake. It's uncomfortable. It's things that you're receiving, though. You're receiving fame, because Cancer means fame, I suppose. But this is, the family falls down. Because of this point of Thales, though, it looks as if they are saved somehow. And that's probably dad. Dad's doing something here in the court. And, he's done it before probably, and he might do it again. So that's going to be it's still going to hurt, but it's not going to be total devastation. So I'm thinking, it's going to be a monetary value. You've got that Uranus opposition. It's going to be shocking. I'm going to pull some cards. It's amazing how we've got Scorpio so prominent. I mean, you can see this in a lot of your charts. If you're going to buy real estate, if you're going to sell real estate, a lot of times too, you can see if you're helping you or hurting you. I don't know if it's a female testimony, but it looks like some kind of like famous person. Now that could be Ivanka. Now, funny though, I'm going to go back to that chart for a second. Couldn't help, of course, but think about the Kardashians, because they're probably calling her right now. You could say, because they're a group of Scorpios. So you've got them, and this could be Kim. Ivanka's getting a call from these famous females, saying, "Don't worry, honey." But it's in the ninth house, so that shows that something's gonna come out in the news. Again, it could be Ivanka herself, since she's a famous female, but sometimes it's somebody else too. Is her testimony today going to tank them? Wow. 10 of Swords, reversed 10 of Swords. Natalie, to a yes, no question, to 10 of Swords, reversed is a no. Her testimony is not going to tank them. There you go. What will Ivanka's future be after all of this is behind her? Yeah, 9 of Wands. Can we see her next solar return? That's a good idea. Maybe we should do that. If this was your solar return, when your ascendant for this year would be in Aries, this is you fighting. Okay. Up here, she's feeling like an Aries. Aries do things very concisely and fast. When you are an Aries ascendant, you've got more motivation. You might even go to the gym more. It can be a year filled with anger, a year where you're feeling hurt because Chiron is wounds, and the North Node is a lot of wounds. You're feeling wounded in a certain way or in a certain sense. A stellium here with, wow, this is so interesting. Stellium and Scorpio, that would be all the real estate documents, everything. Okay. And look at how she is squaring. Whoops. And Jupiter is the judge. Okay. Or the court. Jupiter is not in, like I said in the very beginning, not really strong. Okay. But it's still, I mean, it's a definite fight. It's a bloody battle. Look at Mars. Mars is competition. Third house is her siblings. So you would go to Mercury. So they're probably fighting in the background. You can't see it because it's Scorpio, but it's lots and lots of fighting or fighting together against this judge. And where is the government? Oh, the government's right in there with them. You could say it's the government. Dad is here. Dad is not doing great because of retrograde. Retrograde can mean the person's health is failing or just, not a 10 out of 10. So this could be Trump right here. And he is helping the family somehow. So he's able to give them a lifeline. Now, there's, oh, this is interesting. She is I mean, she's getting major fame, obviously, like she needs any more, but she's got Pluto and it is trining Moon and it's in the second house. So this is an incredible amount of money. What's really weird is when you have Saturn squaring Moon like that, it can show a death. And there might be something, it's sort of like the death card, but it's like the death of finances. There's something that is completely blocked. Venus rules her second house. It's over here in the sixth. Looks like she's doing some work projects online that are going to take care of this other thing that's going on. It doesn't look like it's going to be over. I mean, it's going to be many months of this fighting. They're fighting a judge or a court. Like I said, Jupiter in retrograde is really helping her. Now, her career, if she wants a career, is Saturn. It's pretty stopped right now. Basically, her career is dealing with these scorpionic or these real estate documents in the seventh house too. Seventh house is partnerships. It could be her husband is helping with this fight because of the seventh house, but it's also contracts, legal contracts. Libra is legal. So legal, that's the lord of this house. So seventh house represents your contracts. So legal contracts. South node is leaving legal contracts behind, which we talked about before. We've got Jupiter in the ninth house, obviously. And that's how you can tell if you're going to have, like, if you're going to court. Okay. Look at the ninth house Lord, see where it is. And if that ninth house Lord, we've got like an opposition or a square, or it just looks ugly, that's probably what's going to happen. You're going to be pulled into something that is court related. Pluto in the 10th is really interesting. That's real estate. So I think she's making a lot of money on her coastal real estate. You've got Neptune in the 12th. Nobody sees it. She's building her own portfolio that seems to be doing pretty well. Successful result. There's going to be some success. It seems like it's a good question. Saturn is trining part of fortune. From this point, it looks like dad's going to do okay. The moon is going to represent dad because it is the lord of the IC. So he's got the money, wealthy money, squaring Saturn. So both of his planets are in a square. It just looks like a big coming out of this, it looks like they're gonna be handed a pretty shocking verdict, but in the very end, when it all comes down to it, after the appeals, after everything, it just looks like a big fine, which is basically what happens in corporate America. It's loan terms. I mean, Scorpio is loans, so it's not just real estate. So whenever you see Scorpio, you're gonna look at loans. So this chart being Ivanka's solar chart, this runs from October 30th. Funny how she would be born on October 30th in that Scorpio season. And then it's going to go till the next October 30th. So real estate, loans, and a lot of Piscean types of things, coastal real estate. She's by the water now. That's all going to be part of her profile. The second house, her second house in her solar chart, with Uranus there, this is really lucky. It is trining Pluto. These are electronic documents, okay, that she has access to. This could be electronic, financials, okay, real estate, and the fraud is here, okay? And it's a female. Well, sixth house and 12th house are hidden enemy. So you've got Venus here, and she is fighting in a sense. This is the court in a sense. Sixth house, this person is at work when she's fighting. I think this is the best chart yet. Look at that. So these are the hotels and the potential fraud, the alleged fraud. Pluto there, which is tons. Then you've got electronic documents in the financial house. And then it goes all together in this mini grand trine. They're all flowing. It's all congruent. It it works together. Okay. And it's in the 12th house. Interesting. This is foreign fraud. This is foreign documents. There are things that potentially and allegedly, because Neptune's in the 12th house. In a foreign country. There are a lot of things that this woman, she's not going to be able to get to. That's what that opposition is. You see that? You've got it could be a foreign hotel. 12th is foreign, real estate, electronic documents. We've got this lady here. She's trying to get to that and she can't. It's hidden. I wonder how they did that. If they did, allegedly. 12th house can be good. If you want to hide something, make things unavailable. They'll be seen in the 12th. Also interesting about that trine there with the 7th house, and the 8th house of real estate is Pluto. So you've got Pluto up in the 10th. She looks good. I mean, there's going to be some war here, but for the most part, they're going to keep their fortunes. They're just going to be bruised. I think there's going to be a shock to them. There's something that's part of this case that woman can't get to. It's hidden, in my opinion. All right. Well, thanks, guys, for joining me. Hope to see you tonight. We're going to talk about Idaho, and I will let you know how my interview goes with BD Salerno. If you'd like to join, please do. If you are interested in forensic astrology, go to Amazon and you can download my book, Forensic Astrology 101, using timestamps to. You can also go to Instagram at Forensic Astrologer. Just hit me. Remember, we were talking about in Instagram, I was talking about the princess that falls. Maybe it's Ivanka. We were thinking about, somebody's getting into trouble, and that's a possibility. So I'll have to look back at that Instagram post and see if it's possible. We'll see. We will see you later on tonight.